Texas basketball picks up a big win over the weekend. Then guests Steve Helwick and Robert Treviño join us as we look at the Alliance of American Football uniforms. We'll break down those, the logos, uniforms, give them some ratings. And then Steve's going to tell us a really incredible story that happened to him on Valentine's Day at Pluckers. And then, of course, we'll finish the show, as usual, with the fun fact of the week. Let's get started. Welcome into the Thomas Fitch Show, presented by 1&0 Sports. For those of y'all listening to this right now, make sure, whether you're on iTunes or Spotify or YouTube or something else, like, comment, subscribe, do all the good millennial things. If you leave a comment and leave a question, leave a hot take, something like that, I'll discuss it on next week's show. Let's get into the action. We're going to start, again, as we normally do, looking at Texas basketball. Only one game has happened since the last episode. It was a game on Saturday. Horns played Oklahoma State, got the win, 69-57. But it was an ugly win. And, you know, just looking at the stats, just looking at the score, I don't think many people would say this was a super ugly win. It's 12 points. I know, you know, against a not good Oklahoma State team, but 12 points at home. Team shoots almost 50% from the field. It's a pretty good game. But there are a couple things that worried me in this game. The first was the start. You look at the first 7 minutes of the game where Oklahoma State had the lead. They led as much. Words are... I think I need a new segment called Words Are Hard, where I just mess up on words. That'd just be every show. Anyways, they had a lead 6-7 minutes of the game. They're up 12-5. And at that point in the game, I think I even tweeted out, like, this feels like Texas is a JV team scrimmaging the varsity team. Just because they couldn't get anything going offensively. There was no effective ball movement. There was turnovers. It was just ugly basketball. Now, fortunately, after that, they went on a run and never let up after that win by 12. But that kind of a slow start, you can recover when you're playing a team like Oklahoma State. You can't recover when you're playing Kansas or Texas Tech or whoever you have in the tournament. You start off that bad, that's the game. Because you won't be down 7, you'll be down 15 or 20. So that was my first thought on that. The other the other fact of this game that makes it look a little less worse, or sorry, a little more worse than it was the fact that Oklahoma State was severely undermanned in this game. They had seven players on their roster, I believe, scholarship players that played because they had to let some go. I believe their coach after the game said, "There's some guys playing on the team that weren't even on our roster before the week. Texas didn't really know they existed." You had McGriff and Waters playing the entire game. So Texas was playing this game against an undermanned, exhausted, clearly not a good 9-16 team at that. And then you say they have no depth because they've had to suspend players, and so they're having to play their guys the whole game. The Oklahoma State coach, he was like, yeah, some of those guys you see on the bench for Texas, those walk-ons, are better than some of the guys we had to play tonight. And so that's just why I say, you know, Texas could have and should have been more dominant in this game than they were. It wasn't terrible, but it could have been a lot better. And I think, you know, the fact of the matter is college basketball is just going to look ugly at points. I think that's just a known fact. But Texas can play some really ugly basketball. And they can overcome that because they're a good defensive team. But there's some points where the offense literally looks like you got five, not even five good players from Greg. You got like five crappy players from Greg and threw them on a court and said, hey, go run an offense. And they said, what do you mean run an offense? And then Shaka says, just pass it around and find an open shot. That's kind of what it looks like at times. At other times, there's good ball movement, but this team's streaky. And so, obviously that's kind of been the case all season. That's been the case since Shaka's been at Texas. But as we move towards the tournament for Texas, as we move towards, does Texas have the resume to get in the tournament with 5 games left? Oklahoma on Saturday at Oklahoma. Baylor next week at Baylor. Home against Iowa State. At Texas Tech. Home against TCU. And every week I've been going through and saying they got to win this many games. They got to win that many games. I think they have to finish 3-2 through this schedule. I think Oklahoma's a game you got to win, even though it's on the road. TCU's a game you got to win at home. And then you got to find a way to win, beat either Baylor, Iowa State, or Texas Tech. 2 of those teams, Iowa State and Tech being ranked. Baylor on the road, Tech also on the road. I think if they do that, they're in. The fact that they can be inconsistent this whole season and they've never really even been on the bubble watch shows that they could finish 3-2, win a game in the Big 12 tournament, 19 wins, and they're in. Probably as an 8 or 9 seed, probably a 9 seed. But you look at the teams they've beaten, their wins. UNC, now ranked 8th, I believe. Purdue, ranked 15th. Kansas State, top 20 team. Kansas is ranked 12, I believe. They have good wins. They have a lot of top 15 wins. 4. That's impressive. A lot of teams are going to be in the tournament with better records than Texas that don't have that. But what Texas also has, a loss to Radford, a loss to Oklahoma State, a loss to Georgia, struggle just to win any games on the road, lost to Providence, lost to VCU. And that's what the committee's going to have to decide between, is they have some really good wins and some really good losses. And I think in a way that benefits them, just because there's the fact that, a lot of when the committee's deciding between, these bubble teams, it's who's going to give us a close game, who has a chance to go on a run. Texas clearly has the ability to play with the best teams. They showed that against North Carolina. They showed that against Kansas. And they beat Kansas State by 20 earlier in the season on the road. No, at home. At home. They've who else? West Virginia, they beat by 22. They had a lead. Oh, Purdue, that was the one I was missing. So they have some really good wins, and they've shown they can compete with some of the better teams in the nation. And I think that probably will be enough to get them in. But then you go back to Shaka, and you have to say, are we content with this at Texas? Is the board or the donors, are the athletic, is Del Conte, is he content with this being what Texas is going to be like? An average team making the tournament. On a good year, maybe you're a 5 seed. On a bad year, you don't make the tournament. Maybe you sneak in as a 10 seed. Because with Shaka, that's your floor, that's your ceiling. And the question that's going to come up at the end of the season is, are Texas fans, and are the, more importantly, the people making the shots, athletic directors, the boosters, are they okay with mediocrity? And we'll just have to see. Anyways, let's get on to our interview with Steve Helwick and Robert Treviño. All right, we now welcome on special guests Steve Helwick, Robert Treviño. Guys, welcome to the show. Steve, welcome back. Robert, welcome on for the first time.
Thank you.
Robert is the host of the Cold Coffee podcast. Another 1-0 sports production. So make sure y'all check that out. When do you normally put the episodes up?
New episodes every Friday.
Every Friday. So a couple days from now. Is it going to be good? We're going to have a good show on Friday?
Yeah, hopefully. A lot of stuff happening this week.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right, so let's get started. What we're starting with is talking Alliance of American Football. It started. Football's back. And we're just going to look at the logos and the uniforms. We're going to go by each. We'll go logo and then uniform and give a ranking out of 10. And then at the end, we'll say our favorites and least favorites. So we'll start with the Arizona Hotshots. Interesting logo, kind of supposed to be based around like the Arizona Fire Department, but guys, let's hear your rankings. Steve, we'll start with you.
I personally love the Arizona Hotshots logo. The uniform's not so much, but that's one of the cleanest logos in the league. I love the crossing axes and the whole fire underneath the shield.
So out of 10?
The logo's an 8.
8 out of 10. Robert?
I'm with Steve on this one. That's an 8. I love the little AZ thing. If you look at the top, like right above there.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Like also like the fire department shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that logo is looking clean.
I'm going to give it a 6 out of 10. I think it's a great logo. I don't know if it's the best football logo, but I think we're kind of going to be saying that about all of these because all of these look like a knockoff NFL game from 2012.
Yeah. Well, that font's cool.
But that's true, and I do think the AZ in there is a nice touch. Yeah. Let's move to their uniforms. Yikes.
Oh. Oh my.
What?
Goodness.
Yeah. The yellow. I think you said it kind of looks like the Bucks. What is it? The Bucks Mecca, whatever.
It's the Bucks Mecca court, like a concept of that come to life in a football form.
That just looks like an arena football league.
It does. It's so. We were watching some highlights before this, and every time you see it, it's just like, oh,
yeah.
They actually did that. I think I gave it 3 out of 10.
Yellow is one of those colors you can't have too much of. Just because a logo looks cool and the numbers look good, I'm going to give that about a 5.
5?
Yeah, I'm going a 4. They definitely could have done something with that yellow helmet. Like if they had gone maybe like green or the orange uniforms, that would have worked. But I mean, it works for LSU to have a yellow helmet, but you can't.
But the yellow and the green and the orange.
The yellow and the green on the same jersey, that looks terrible.
Works for the Packers, but
they're the Packers. Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the Salt Lake Stallions. Steve,
chess piece right here.
Yeah. Start us off with the logo. I know this isn't your favorite.
It's clever. The S and the horse combined to make the stallion.
Oh, I didn't even see that. Yeah. You can see below the horse's head there's an S.
I think the logo is very good, but this is just like another Arizona Hotshots case with a great logo, but the uniform they missed out on. So
Interesting.
I'm going to give this one a 7.
7, wow. Robert?
I'm giving this one a 6. I mean, I like the S. I was going to give this a 5, but Steve bumped that up 1 point. That's a cool S. I just look at it and I'm like, oh, that's a glorified chess piece right there.
No, I'm giving it a 4. I really don't love it.
Yeah.
I think a lot could have been because we'll get to the uniform in a second, but I like these colors. I don't like the stallions that kind of like
that font design looks like something you could just do real quick.
Yeah, and the whole chess piece. It's like, come on, don't make football about smart people. Okay, football's about hitting and CTE. Come on.
What if the Denver Broncos switched that to blue and orange and made that their logo?
No.
Yeah,
please.
I could see that as a Broncos logo. That's like a knockoff Broncos.
It is.
That's what it is.
Yeah. All right, so let's go to the uniforms. Steve, I know you don't like these. These are some of my favorites. I'm giving it 7 out of 10.
This is a 4 for me.
Wow.
I said this is that knockoff NFL app, and this is what they put as the Detroit Lions uniform.
Yeah. I think there's a little Titans in there.
Too many shades of blue.
Yeah, well, saying there's a little Titans in there, I don't think that helps its case.
I love the Titans uniforms.
Oh, yeah.
Look,
the Titans, though.
I'm a sucker for Carolina blue.
Yeah.
And the Carolina blue with the white is clean. And, like, the helmet with the stripes on it,
This looks like FCS West, like from NCAA football.
That's fair. That's fair. So, Robert, what would you rate
I'm
it?
doing a 4.
4?
Maybe a 3.5.
Wow. Okay.
I gotta undercut Steve on this one.
Okay, let's move down. My hometown,
Ooh.
San Antonio Commanders. The logo.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot more could have been done here. What do y'all think?
I think they did the right amount, honestly. I mean, if you do too much, you can kind of mess it up. I'm kind of partial.
So what are you rating it?
I'm gonna give this one a 7.
Wow.
Maybe a 6.5.
Steve?
This one's going to be a 6.5 for me too. I like the incorporation of the Alamo sword, but it's a little bland, but it's simple and it's effective.
I love the Alamo. Obviously, being from San Antonio,
You remembered it.
You throw the Alamo in there, and I'm gonna love it. But I feel like this was so San Antonio being like, okay, we didn't get a soccer team, so let's just make a soccer logo for our football team.
That's definitely
that's what it
soccer
looks
logo.
like.
Yeah, San
Does
Antonio.
with a
You
star.
could tell me that's San Antonio FC. I'd be like, oh, you're right.
Yeah. So because of that, I'm giving it a 5. I don't think it's a bad logo, but I just think it's a little. Yeah, it's very San
it
Antonio
looks-
FC.
Yeah, like they just had one like ready in case they ever got like a pro team, and they were
And
like,
then-
all right, it's time, Commanders.
Yeah. All right. Uniforms, pretty simple too. Now here's one thing on the helmet. The back of the helmet, there's an Alamo.
That's clean.
So because of that, I'm giving it 6 out of 10. Not the greatest, but again, I think it's pretty bland. Pretty bland. I don't know what I think about the orange and like the purple,
Yeah, I don't-
burgundy.
What is that darker
Or sorry,
red?
not orange.
That's like
the red. Yeah, the
burgundy,
red, and then
right?
it is kind of a maroon.
Yeah,
Kind of gross.
I really
Steve?
don't like that.
The red and maroon clashing. Well, as 1-0 Sports resident aesthetics expert, I'm going to give this one a 6.5 out of 10.
That's fair.
The maroon and red somehow works together.
It's not terrible. It really isn't terrible for how bad it should be.
I'd rather see white pants and silver just because
Yeah.
there's a lot going on in the uniform. I think the shoulders are good. The numbers are simplistic enough where there's not too much going on in the design. But it's solid uniforms. It's
Yeah.
not the worst.
Yeah.
It's not,
You know what I'll say? Like all of these teams aren't taking risks.
Yeah,
I mean,
no.
the Commanders took a risk right here.
It's true.
With a little bit with that burgundy red kind of thing.
That's
That
fair.
really could have backfired on.
So what would you rate it?
I'll give it a 6. I really want
6.
those white pants. Like, come on, that
Okay.
gray just.
That's good. Good consensus here, finally. 6, 2 6s, and a 6.5. All right, moving on to the Fleet. Strong logo here. Steve?
I dig it. That's a solid 8 logo.
Yeah.
The whole battleship there, and I think the text, the San Diego Fleet wordmark, fits the team mantra pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like the shield. This is the only one where a shield
Yeah.
pretty much works.
Yeah.
So just because of that, I mean, I'm giving this one probably like a 7, 7.5.
Yeah. I gave it a 7. Again, I mean, these all feel like an NFL knockoff game.
Yeah.
And this looks like a really good logo from an NFL knockoff game.
Yeah.
I think it'd be really cool, since they're the Fleet, if they played on a ship. Like they'll do like a basketball game.
That'd be cool. I want like an intro, like
Shanks the punt, and that one's
Yeah.
going in the water. Kayakers down there trying to catch it.
that'd actually be cool. I'd go see a Fleet game.
Yeah.
For sure.
On a ship?
Oh yeah.
On a boat?
Absolutely.
You put football on a boat, I'm gonna spend $20K to get out there.
Okay, uniforms. How are we feeling?
I like them. I'm going to give them a 7. It sort of suits the logo. I really like the helmet. Not the biggest fan of the numbers, but I love the arrows pointing down and as the stripe, and I like the logo on the right side. But I think there needs to be a little more contrast between the two grays, and that would make it better, because if you make maybe the uniform a really dark gray and the pants really light gray, it would look a lot better just because of the more contrast, and it doesn't look like it clashes as much.
So what are you giving it out of 10?
I'm going to give it a 7, a step above San
7.
Antonio.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I like
Robert?
that. I like that helmet. I like the thing they're doing with the yellow socks deal or whatever up to their knees.
Yeah.
Like the yellow stuff. I don't know. This was the jersey that I saw while watching a game, and I thought that all of the jerseys were just the same.
Oh, yeah, was that
Yeah.
against the Legends?
Yeah.
Yeah, we were talking about that beforehand. I don't know. I've gone back and forth on this one because my original was a 4, but I think I'm going to have to bump it up to a 5. I just...
I'll go with 5. It just feels like an average jersey.
Yeah, I don't love the gray and yellow. I just feel like they could have done more. I think the stripes are a little cheesy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't love it.
I love the stripes, man.
Controversy over stripes here. The Legends, Atlanta Legends, moving to the East.
The Eastern Conference.
Thoughts on the logo?
It looks like the second half of the Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl. That's how I describe it. No, it actually looks like that mid-2000s Kings team, the one with Brad Miller and Bino Udrih, in their uniforms in a football concept.
Yeah.
And it looks really bad. Purple and that light gold don't mix that well together.
So what are you giving the logo?
I could design that in MS Paint. I'm going to give that a 3.
Wow.
No, I'm going a 2 right here.
2?
2.5, maybe
Are
a
you
3.
kidding?
You know, it's the same thing because, like, first off, the name. I don't know about the name. Like the Legends.
Yeah, name's not the best.
The Legends. It sounds like I don't know, like an NBA All-Star team, like the old school, like Legends versus.
What was the
Ballers
Big Ten? It was Legends and
Leaders and Legends.
Leaders and Legends.
That's all I'm thinking of. And then that font. Like, why is the G doing that? You're not Coca-Cola.
I love this logo.
Well, Coke is
8.
Atlanta.
I'm giving
You're
this
giving it
logo
an
8 out of 10.
No way.
I think
That's a crown with a football as the little top.
it
There's
does.
no way.
Really, I'm getting like CFP vibes from that football, but I think
That is CFP vibes.
The CFP trophy looks horrible.
Yeah.
It's a giant
It's
creamsicle.
They should have kept the.
But
trophy.
I think in the logo the colors work well. The purple and the gold. It's royal. Legends. The
I'll
crown.
give you the colors. I'll give you the colors.
I think it's effective. Is it a great football logo? No, none of these are.
All right, I think this is the best one in terms of like vibe,
Mm-hmm.
but I just don't like the vibe.
Okay.
That's the thing.
Fair.
Yeah.
All right, uniforms. To me, this looks like you took the Rams uniforms, made the font look like, I don't know, like Arial Bold, or I don't know, something like really basic.
It's like Cambria.
And then, that's some Cambria on there. And then changed the blue to a purple.
I like the numbers.
Yeah,
I think the
me too.
numbers look good, and I think the whole design of the uniform would be good without the ATL, on the side. But that
Yeah.
detracts so
right
much
there.
from the uniform.
It's terrible.
I like the color scheme though. That really works.
It's
That
not the
purple with
worst. It's really not the worst. But why did they have to add the ATL on the side? Like that just screams like a 15-year-old designing a jersey on like 2K.
Oh, that's
or
definitely
Madden.
something I would have done.
You know?
It's
Yeah,
like you took
for
a
sure.
Claude Monet painting and then just splashed paint all over it.
No,
at
you
the
wrote
end.
Claude Monet.
Yeah,
You like read it real big.
Yeah. Let's get rankings for this one. I gave it a 5.5. Good, but that drags it down. Steve?
I'll give that a 4.
I'm giving that a 6. That's an above
6.
that. The color scheme works.
Yeah. All right. Birmingham Iron. The logo that I can envision a little press thing coming down and stamping the B there in, a 2012 NFL Blitz game. What are our ratings for this logo?
I'm really torn on this one. This one's so simple
It is.
that it's so easy to be like, oh, that's just a B. But it works. It works. I'm digging the vibe with the
Yeah?
iron.
So what are you giving it?
You know what? I'm going to give this one an 8.
Wow.
I'm going to give this one an 8. I like the vibe. I like that little text that they got going on. I like that they're winning.
Steve?
I'll give it a 7.5. I like that iron, that factory mantra that this team has out of it, and the silver and the black look good together.
So here's I gave it a 4. The reason I gave it a 4, like you were talking about earlier, I don't know whose logo. You were saying like, oh, I could design that. Like I'm pretty sure I have designed like logos in the past with that exact same font, that exact same like. It just feels so stock imagey.
That's like a logo from like a football team in a movie.
Exactly. I think they went
Any given Sunday.
They went a little too basic on the logo. So that's why I'm giving 4 out of 10. However, the uniforms, I love the uniforms.
You can't go wrong with black though. They got
It's
lucky
black,
with the
little
black.
touch of
yeah.
silver on the side. Trent Richardson is playing for them.
Yeah. And he's averaging more than 2 yards a carry now.
What is it, like
Yeah.
2.2?
Yeah, 2.2.
Yeah, he's just killing it. So I gave these uniforms a 9. I think I'm gonna bump it down to an 8.
5.5.
5.5.
5.5.
Too simple for my liking.
Yeah, I'm giving this like a, what do you give like a burger at Whataburger? Like it's so hard to mess one up. It's hard
Right.
to mess up black and gray in a uniform. I'll give it like a 7.
Now I will say in this picture, the Birmingham Iron there, I think that looks clean.
Yeah.
I think the beak, the stamped on iron beak kind
That
of hurts.
yeah, you're not with the.
I do like the team name coming out of Alabama.
Yeah, coming out of
Yeah.
there, they're playing in Birmingham where the Iron Bowl used to be played. So I think that, yeah. All right, let's move on to the Memphis Express. Thoughts on this logo?
That's a Winnipeg Jets AHL
That's
team.
what we were saying. I was like, this looks like a hockey logo.
If I didn't know any better, I would really think that's like an airline. Part of that's, I mean, obviously the giant
The
plane in
plane.
there, but still, I mean, it just gives off.
And the Express, and also, and maybe it's because Round Rock Express, but I hear Express in a name, and I just think minor league baseball.
True.
So it's not a bad logo. I think I gave it a 4.5, but it just doesn't look like a good. It's not a football logo.
Express is a bad name.
Yeah,
Is that really all they could have done for
like
Memphis?
we're an
And they
express flight.
Yeah. Express out. Express out of Memphis.
Yeah, like there's so much better stuff. I mean, I guess blues would have been a little cliche, but like something around that. There's good food in Memphis. The Memphis ribs, heck, would have been better than the Memphis
Yeah,
Express.
because I mean, it's like, what do you think of when you think of Memphis? Express flight out. No offense to Memphis. I love Memphis.
Yeah.
Never been, but.
So what did you rate it?
I'll give it a 5.
5. Steve?
I'll give that a 6.
6. Yeah, I think it's not bad, but it's too much AHL minor league baseball vibes. Uniforms though,
That looks really good on the helmet.
Yeah.
it's clean. It's clean. Again, I think kind of like the black and silver is hard to mess up. Just a plain like a navy blue and a solid red are hard to mess up. And I think I said these are 7 out of 10. Just really clean uniforms.
This works. I'm going with an 8.
8, Steve?
I'll go 7.5. Then.
Yeah. Really good. I think the plane works well. I like the little red and blue stripes on the side.
Striping.
Yeah.
The font of the numbers looks
Also,
good.
I can imagine that guy like with the number 12 right there. Maybe that's Tom Brady.
All right. Last team,
Ooh.
Steve Spurrier's Orlando Apollos. Thoughts?
Appalling.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. You know, like, first off, I like the name, the Apollos, and then you have Apollo with the arrow right there, with the little O, and you get even the little A if you can. I don't know.
Okay, so I think I gave it a 4 because I hate the logo. You're going with Apollos, do something space like Apollo because of the Apollo missions because Florida. Put a rocket in there.
Well, they do have the font, which is a very space.
I do like the
that
font.
A.
I do like the
That
font.
A is bold.
I will give you that. Yes, I like the font. But put a rocket in the logo. Like, there's nothing cooler than a rocket in the logo. And I guess you couldn't.
Well, the Rockets don't have a rocket in the logo.
That's true.
Yeah,
wait,
The point
They have
of
the
the
little-
rocket
that
is
point.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
the point. And they could have gone with a whole rocket here, and instead, a freaking. It doesn't even look like it's not even like, oh yeah, that's like the Greek god Apollo. It looks like an old guy in a tunic shooting an arrow.
True, like they just had like some dude. It's just the Orlando Hunters.
Yeah.
You could be like right here.
Yeah. So okay, I have 4 out of 10. Steve,
I'll give the logo about a 4.5.
Robert,
Oh, you brought me down. I'm gonna give it a 5.
5. Okay, uniforms though,
Mm.
clean, really clean.
That white.
Very.
And now when you get to see the just Orlando Apollos without the terrible old Greek guy in a tunic, the A of it is nice. The blue and orange and white is good. I think
Yeah.
some teams would have gone with like too much blue, too much orange, but they didn't. It's white with the accent of the blue and the orange. I gave it an 8.
I'm giving it an 8. I like that 76ers drop shadow and the numbers. I really miss different colored shoulders. That's something that football's turned away from in recent years. Teams like Michigan State used to have those,
Yep.
Arkansas, and then they ditch them. I do like colored shoulders.
Yeah, I'd give it a 7.5.
7. Okay, so let's go. Favorite uniform, least favorite uniform. Steve?
I think I had the Apollos as my highest rated uniform. My lowest is either going to be the Legends or Stallions.
Okay.
Yeah, lowest for sure. The Legends. I think my highest rated. Yeah, it was probably. I like the Apollos honestly. Now that
Okay.
we're going back at it, I'm gonna edit that.
Okay, I'm saying my favorite, I'm sticking with the Iron,
Oh yeah.
although Apollos were close. And then least favorite, Hot Shots by a couple miles.
Yeah.
Logos, favorites, least favorites?
Favorite logo? I can't remember which one I think it was San Diego Fleet. Yeah, San
Fleet.
Diego Fleet had
Yeah,
the
the
coolest
Fleet.
logo.
Yeah,
The
I think
Fleet was the best
Fleet's
logo.
best logo. Worst logo, which one did...
The Legends MS Paint design.
Yeah.
You didn't like I like the Legends. I think I'm going to stick with the Iron.
The Legends tried. That's the thing.
It's true.
They
did.
felt.
They did.
Do I fault them for trying? Yeah.
That's
They
some
kinda
of
fell on their
Atlanta
fa-
sports.
Yeah. Do I fault them? Do I fault Atlanta for trying? Yeah.
All right, so now let's get to the most exciting,
Oh.
thrilling part of the show. Steve, tell us your Valentine's Day Pluckers experience.
Well, first off,
Settle in, folks. It's a good one.
I think I should explain what Pluck Hunt is, because every Thursday night at Pluckers, they have an event.
Shout out Pluckers.
Shout out Pluckers.
Give me free wings.
I
Same
have
here. Same here.
enough free stuff to free money to give you. I'll explain that. They have a game called Pluck Hunt. Basically, Pluck Hunt is you bring random items or you compete challenges and you get stamps for that, and you're rewarded. The people with the most stamps get $100, $50, or $25. And I make it a thing to go every week if our IM team didn't sign up on Thursday nights. And I usually go with Arya Bastami, former 1-0 Sports
Well, he's a
guest.
recurring guest.
He's a recurring guest.
on one of
It's coming
those
up in
sports,
March.
yeah.
Big interview.
So
Stay tuned.
they'll ask for an item. They'll say, like, I need a keychain with 2 keys, and I hold it up, and then I get the stamps. And I bring a backpack of just random items, things that are people's trash, basically, just because I know that if I bring this to Pluckers, I'm going to get money for it.
How many
And
people play every week?
There's a good amount of teams, and on Valentine's Day, because they had 75-cent wings and dollar beers, it was absolutely packed. It was a madhouse of teams playing. So going into Thursday night, I had won $775 dating back to September 2017 from this game. Considering I eat there on almost once a week on every week that I can, I've not paid for a meal since September 2017.
Wow.
So it's Thursday night, 9 o'clock's approaching. I go to Pluckers, and I know that they have Valentine's Day special, so I arrive at 8:14 p.m. Got to remember the details just to play Pluck Hunt. So I go up to the lady at the host, or I don't know what they're called, the people that sit you down.
Yes.
And
The seating people.
Hostess. Yeah.
Hostess.
There we go.
And
Thank you, Robert.
I ask how. I say, oh, could I please have a table for 2, because I thought it would just be Arya and I going. She said that wait's going to be 3 hours. Said 3 hours. And she affirmed, and she said, yes, we have over 100 reservations because it's Valentine's Day. Valentine's Day has always been an afterthought for me. It's just a holiday that exists. It's like Pi Day. You wake up and you look at your calendar and you see, oh, I guess it's Pi Day. I mean, Valentine's Day is just a day to signify that NBA All-Star Weekend's nearby.
Plus, it's like Pluckers, right? Like, it's Pluckers.
I know,
like,
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
The people go to Pluckers. Anyway, I get seated. I
What a
well,
romantic
I
spot.
don't get
for
seated.
Valentine's
I mean,
Day.
it's good wings. I mean, I
true.
get it.
It's
I
true.
get it. Yeah.
I go to the bar because bar seating is open seating that us veterans would know, and there are 2 seats there, so I claim them for Arya and I. And at 8:45, Arya shows up, but he doesn't show up alone. He shows up with a squad. He has 3 other people with him, and we only have 2 seats there, and we need to sit 5 people down. Luckily, we're on one end of the bar. We look toward the door, that end of the bar. There's people leaving, and there's enough space to get 5 people. So we move, and I already ordered my food because I'm the world's slowest eater, and I know that Arya showing up 30 minutes later and ordering probably 40 minutes later would still finish his meal before mine, and I think he actually did. So I moved my food and everything over, and we sit at the end of the table, and out of the corner of my eye, there's 2 girls sitting on the end, and the one across from me, I look at her. Let's call this girl that I look at, we're gonna call her Rasheed Wallace.
Rasheed Wallace. this
Rasheed
time.
Wallace.
And her friend's gonna be Ron Artest.
Oh.
Oh, wait. Whoa.
Sake of the story.
Yeah.
For
all right,
this,
all right.
just for code names here.
Yeah.
So I look at Rasheed Wallace. I'm thinking, she looks awfully familiar. This isn't the first time I noticed Rasheed Wallace. I actually noticed her when I first walked in, but I didn't think I'd be like this close, like have a face-to-face encounter with her. She looked like a girl I was previously interested in. Let's call her Ben Wallace. So I'm looking at Rasheed Wallace. I keep looking over. Like, oh my gosh, she looks like Ben Wallace. I keep looking. And I'm not going to say anything to her. That's not me. I don't approach people and really talk to them. She has to make the first move if we're going to talk throughout the night. Anyway, it's business time. We have money to win. It's Pluck Hunt. I mean, we have to cross the $800 marks since we've won $775 combined between Arya and I. So Pluck Hunt starts, and it's Valentine's Day, so we knew some of the items to bring. And one of the first items was a piece of chocolate. And I pull out a piece of heart-shaped chocolate that I had in my Pluck Hunt bag. Don't worry, it was in a plastic bag all by itself. I had that piece of chocolate in my Pluck Hunt bag for over a year when I got it. I don't even know how I originally got it, and I really don't care. But it wins me money. So it's a fair trade-off. So I get that out, and we keep winning. We keep getting stamps. The stamps are accumulating, and she looks at me. She said, "How do you have all these items? You just have a piece of chocolate and you bring that?" And I explained Pluck Hunt to her. I said, "Look, I come here every single Thursday night at 9 o'clock, and I bring a lot of items in this backpack, and I know the items that they frequently call, and I win." She's like, "How much have you won?" And what later Arya calls the smoothest flex he's ever seen out of me. I pull about $400 in gift cards out of my wallet and say $775. And she's like, "I don't think that's weird." Like, she's like, "You're winning money and you said you haven't paid for a meal here since September 2017? I said, "That's right." She's like, "That's amazing." I said, "Yeah, my presence here is why I'm still single."
Smooth.
Yeah, it's smooth.
It was
a little
smooth.
self-deprecation
Yeah.
there. I like that.
But she lets her know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're
I mean,
interested.
Yeah. So the night continues. I mean, she keeps talking, making small talk with me throughout the night, and it's going pretty well. And Arya and I keep doing the challenges, and then there's one challenge where they say, "We need one of your team members to juggle 3 items." Now, I'd say I used to, but I still have the talent to. I used to be a juggler with a trick shot vine. So I would juggle basketballs and make trick shots with them. It was kind of like Dude Perfect, except exclusively juggling. So if you can juggle basketballs, you can basically juggle most items, except for chainsaws. And so I pick up the first 3 items I find. It was a ketchup bottle, a mustard bottle, and then one of those red baskets on the table. I just start juggling them. And then the host of Pluck Hunt, her name was Burnaby. She'll come into this later. Ooh. She notices right away, and she runs over, and she gives me extra stamps just because my juggling was really good. And
shout out Burnaby.
Yeah, shout out Burnaby. Shout out Andy and Spence, too. Andy and Spence are the typical... Oh, Spence is retired, but those are the typical hosts of Pluck Hunt. And shout out, those are my guys right there.
All right.
So I'm juggling the items, and then I do pretty well, and I put them down. And the basket, I'm putting the contents back in the basket that were there, and that was napkins, a fork, and then a knife. And I have the knife in my hand, and Rasheed Wallace asked me, "Can you juggle knives?" I said, "I sure can try." Now, normally I wouldn't do this, but she was so convincing. So I picked up the knife.
Well, it helped that you thought she was cute.
Yeah.
So I picked up the knife.
It was so convincing.
And Arya has the most concerned look on his face. He's like, "Steve, what are you doing?" But she's so convincing, and she's going, "Knife, knife, knife," banging both fists on the table. And then Ron Artest joins her, and they're going, "Knife, knife, knife, knife." I'm so impressed.
Rasheed Wallace and Ron Artest.
Yeah,
man.
back punching stuff. You know what I mean?
Like, Rasheed Wallace and Ron Artest are convincing me I have to do it.
Oh, my
but
gosh.
then I got kind of caught up in the moment, but it's time for the next challenge, and then I have to do whatever it was. The Pluck Hunt also has challenges, things like writing your name and ketchup on your arm or something like that, and I think I did something like that next. I mean, it's for the hunt.
Right.
You got to do it. So...
Hashtag for the hunt.
Yes, Arya and I actually do hashtag for the hunt as our team name quite often.
Gosh.
But this time,
Oh my god.
we had to think of a team name as the time was closing. So I didn't know, this was a first-time host. She was subbing in for Andy. I didn't know her name exactly, and I remembered. Andy tweeted it to me last night that he'd be out and who his replacement would be. So we found out through Twitter, Andy tweeted me that her name was Burnaby. So Arya and I tried to think of Burnaby puns, because we always do that with Andy and Spence. We'd always put their name in a pun. And
Insider information.
We came up with Burnaby my Valentine as the
Okay,
name.
Oh, that's
smooth,
good.
smooth.
That's good.
It was good. But the girls were saying, so they were asking, they're like, "So you didn't even ask her name or anything?" this is going to come up later in the story of why this is important. They're like, you didn't even bother asking her name? I said, oh, no, we just found out through Twitter. So we're good at this. We find things out. So it's going well. I'm having conversations with Rasheed Wallace throughout the night, and we actually bring up Thomas in there because we were talking about Valentine's Day. I don't know how that topic of conversation arose.
Maybe it helped that it was Valentine's Day.
It was Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And last episode on the Thomas Fitch show, they had Sean Mapes, Daniela Perez, and Emily Stone discussing things that guys notice in girls and girls notice on guys. And I was saying,
Bridging the divide.
I was saying my friend has a podcast, and they were talking about the things they notice. I forget, they were like eyes, hair, whatever, and then type of car. And she's like, oh, type of car, that's interesting. I said, well, on the show, they were trashing guys who drive minivans. Now, as a former minivan driver and a future minivan driver, because that's what I plan to be my first car, I said, what's your take on this? She said, what minivan are you specifically talking about? And I
what
said,
model? What make?
I said a 2001 Honda Odyssey.
Ooh.
So she pulls out her phone, she Googles it, she looks at it, she said, personally, I love it. She said, that shows, and she said, you said it was passed down from your mom, so that shows you love your parents. It's cost efficient, fuel efficient. You can fit a lot of people in it. It's great for raising a family. And she said, my ex-boyfriend used to drive a Camaro, and that was really pretentious and superficial. So I really like the Honda Odyssey. Right here, I'm thinking, wow, this went a lot better than expected. So Pluck Hunt's coming to a close. I've had conversations with her throughout the night. I found out stuff about her, that she's a junior that's graduating by the end of the year, so she'll be in the same graduating class as me. And I was saying, well, I'm probably not going to use the rest of my whatever $400-something on Pluck Hunt for the rest. So if you ever need it, because she was talking about how cheap Aria and I were. She's like, you guys are ordering waters instead of blue moons or whatever.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how cheap Ari and I are with our spending. I said, well, if we need to buy you and Ron Artest's Blue Moons, we can do it. It was dollar beer night, so a lot of people in Pluckers had a lot of beers that night. And so Pluck Hunt comes to a close, and Aria and I are proclaimed as tied for first place, which means that there has to be a tiebreaker, and that's rolling a die. And Spence formerly called us the most unlucky people in the world just because of our horrible luck with rolling dice. So I'm usually more unlucky, so I have Arya roll it, and he rolls a 1, so we stoop down to second place.
Hate to see it.
It was a tough scene.
Tough scene.
So we win $50 and we get back $50. Now we have $825. We're $50 richer than when we came in. So that's always a plus. Then we're talking about Pluck Hunt, and I'm talking to Rasheed Wallace and Ron Artest. I'm saying, well, you guys didn't win this week. I said, but you made a good effort. You were doing the challenges. I said, I was really impressed. I said, you know what? I didn't win my first week either. You know what I did then? I came back the next week, and then I won.
Well played.
Giving that motivation for Pluck Hunt.
And she's saying, well, we're going to beat you guys next time, because we can come prepared now that we know this is a thing. She said, and Rasheed Wallace said, is this every single Thursday night at 9 o'clock? I said, yes, indeed.
Yes, indeed.
I forgot that Valentine's Day was like 6 days ago, because I was going to ask for the next week's story, but that's tomorrow.
Oh,
are you going?
We're getting there.
We have an IM game.
We're getting there. We're
getting there.
So, so she's saying, so she's paying her check. They're signing it. They're about to leave, and she says that it's like, well, if Pluck Hunt's 9 o'clock next week, I guess I'll see you then. And then I try to confirm with her. So as she's leaving, I say, so next Thursday, 9 o'clock? She said, I'm in. And then they both leave. The door shuts. Like, did I just make plans with her? Plans that I can't even commit to? Because I have an IM basketball game that next Thursday night. And the first thing when the door closes, Arya looks at me. He gets all excited. He said, dude, She looked very interested in you, which I didn't think. I'm not an optimist. There's no reason to be an optimist because if you view things in a realistic light, you won't be as disappointed as much. So I didn't think anything of it. And then when Arya says it, I'm thinking, wow, I made progress.
That's that third-party confirmation.
Except,
It is.
Then I realized something.
What?
I have zero contact with her.
Yeah.
And I didn't get her name.
Oh.
The most important thing about a person, their identifier, their name. She knew my name was Steve because our waiter's name was Steve, and she called him out, and I responded. But I never asked for her name just because it's not something that I typically do.
And it gets lost. You're in the zone, and you kind of forget about the important
Get lost
stuff.
in the puck hunt.
It happens.
Exactly.
In the flirting.
So I'm thinking, Ari and I are talking about this. I said, well, this isn't just going to be a lost thing. I said, what if next Thursday doesn't happen? I said, I'm going to find out what her name is. Arya said, how? I said, how? I'm good at this. Rob Perez on Twitter has really trained me. One time we found this girl that he met at the club in a Scooby costume with 0 hints. So just being a member of his comment center has really trained me to be an investigator. I was good at it. And then one of Arya's friends...
Sean Maeve said this is almost the plot to Cinderella.
Almost, Sean.
Just about.
And then one of Arya's friends goes over to the bathroom, and when he's coming back, he crosses a corner of the table. I stop him, and I say, could you please tell me what the check says? If there's a name or anything on it?
No.
He says, looks like the R scribble, W scribble. So I'm thinking, I have to find out what her name is.
Russell
because her name's
Wilson.
Rasheed Wallace
Right.
in this story.
All right. Yeah.
But it could have been Russell Westbrook, could have been Russell Wilson.
Anyone.
Yeah.
So I'm like, thank you. That's all I needed. I told Arya, I said, I'll find it in 15 minutes. It was actually probably less than 15 minutes.
Wow.
Expert.
When you have to notice, it's like one of those games where you see a picture for 30 seconds and you have to memorize every single thing about it.
Right.
I have a good memory, so I just analyzed everything and I managed to find her in less than 10 minutes. And the thing is, as human beings, we are famished creatures. We starve for information, and we just...
I thought you were going to say for something else. I was like...
We starve for information, and we're so hungry to find it that sometimes it doesn't even fulfill our appetite, or sometimes it fulfills our appetite in a way that we don't want it to. As a wise man once said, closure is a blessing and a curse.
Ooh.
Wait, who said that? Do you know? Was it just a wise
I
man?
think it's Drake.
Drake?
So...
Pusha T? Was that Pusha T that said that?
So... I find her on multiple social media platforms, and the first picture I see on Instagram, I'm like, that is definitely her. That is definitely the Rasheed Wallace I was talking to just about a half an hour ago. I said, so now I have her name, so that's good. I mean, she has my name, so it's only fair that I have hers.
Fair.
Then I go to the second picture, and then I see Rasheed Wallace and her partner. I'm thinking, oh, this could be a date party or anything.
Right.
I click, and I scroll down, and I see, oh, they've been dating for quite a while.
Wah, wah.
I mean, I texted one of my friends, and she said, if you find a girl on Valentine's Day, there's a 90% chance she's single if she's not with a guy.
That's a good point.
It could go to a different school.
Right.
And then I click on his bio. His bio, whatever college he goes to, it says, University of Phoenix, class of 2019.
Yeah.
And then the next words in his bio are Rasheed Wallace.
All caps?
Not all caps.
It just says Sheed.
But the name in the bio, now that's concerning.
Yeah, they're
So-
definitely
They're together.
So I kept looking at Rasheed Wallace's bio, and I found out more things. I said closure's a blessing and a curse,
Yep.
and I found out that maybe I wasn't the most compatible thing with Rasheed Wallace. Didn't really have all of the qualities I was
Right,
looking for in a
right.
partner,
Yeah.
but nobody does on this planet, and that's okay. And then for some reason, I then check another social media profile, and I find out that she is a diehard Arizona Cardinals fan. Now, I'm in a Cardinal shirt. I wore this for a reason. thing about Cardinals fans is whatever building we're in right now, there's more people in this building. I don't even know how many people are in this building right now than there are Arizona Cardinals fans on this planet. The Cardinals are about as least followed
We're
as...
not in a huge building.
Yeah, no, let's say there's 1,000 people in this building. Steve is probably statistically the only Arizona Cardinals
Yes.
fan here.
Yeah.
Nobody's an Arizona Cardinals fan. Every time I tell someone I'm an Arizona Cardinals fan, they're like, "Oh, I have bad respect for Larry Fitzgerald," but they know nothing else about the team. So she's an Arizona Cardinals fan, and she's not just like a simple Arizona Cardinals fan. She follows all the Arizona Cardinals writers. She follows guys from Carlos Dansby to J.J. Arrington to Tyrann Mathieu, all former Cardinals of all different eras. I'm sure she even follows Ryan Lindley or something.
The Drew Stanton era.
Drew Stanton. I don't know. So I'm thinking, I can't give up because Cardinals fans make up, 0.1% of NFL fans, if even that. Mm-hmm. So now I'm pressed because I have an IM basketball game on Thursday. My only form of communication with her would be agreeing to seeing her next Thursday.
Yep.
But there's an obstacle in the way.
There is.
Yeah.
And the IM game is at 9.
Well, the IM game isn't the only obstacle.
Oh. Because I was going to say, we have to cover the spread, man.
Yeah, what's the other option?
Yeah, what's the other?
The person with Rasheed Wallace in the bio.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the fact that she has a boyfriend. Yeah, that's an obstacle, too.
That's an obstacle.
So, my original plan, before I gained closure on the subject, I was going to play the IM game, drop a 20-20 game.
Yep.
And then skip Wendy's, which is our typical post-game meal, and sprint over to Pluckers, where Pluck Hunt should be finishing up, and she would be winning $100 this week because my presence wouldn't be in the building.
We should make a TSTV Sports basketball post-game at Pluckers this time.
Yeah. I want to meet Rasheed Wallace.
I do, too.
And run our test, too.
But let Steve run there, and then we'll just meet up there.
We'll just be like, Steve!
Well, he's a slow eater, so...
Yeah.
I'm a very slow eater.
So we have a plan.
So, that the plan to...
Yeah, we got our post-game victory after
That's
the
the plan, and next week on the Thomas Fish Show, I will give all of y'all personally a recap of how it went.
But what if she's not there? What if Pluck Hunt ends quickly and she's already gone? Because that happens.
We got to win the game quickly.
You slide into her DM.
If we go up by 30, he can just take off.
The thing about her was she looks like someone I was interested in. Think about it as a GM. If you want Steph Curry, but you know that Steph Curry's not on the market right now. He's so hard to obtain. But then you see Seth Curry, and you have an interaction with Seth Curry, and you're thinking, this could be my free agent signing next year. Then you're going to go for Seth Curry. But even though you can't get... So the whole thing about her was she looked like somebody I knew before, and then
Right. Rasheed Wallace looked like Ben Wallace. We've been over this.
And then I found out she was an Arizona Cardinals fan, and we made plans for next Thursday at 9 o'clock, and I have no clue what to do with them.
I think you just got to show up. If she's there, you take it slow. You say, sup,
Yeah, what are the odds she's there?
If she's there, that's a great sign.
That's a great sign. No, if she's there, that's like...
It's still
the
concerning
sign.
sign. That's like a red flag, like sirens going off.
But maybe she just wanted to do a Pluck Hunt,
Yeah, maybe she's actually interested in just doing the... Maybe she actually saw everything in your bag, and she's going to bring that next time.
What you do is you go there, you show up, you start talking to her, get her number, just like let's hang out together if Ron Artest is there. You're hanging out as friends, and then you're just there for her, in case she needs anything.
Well, you know what?
And then all of a sudden you're just there.
Bring your bag of stuff, and then help her out at the end, because it'll be the end in case it's still going. Plan for the contingency plan.
Yeah. I think you can make this work. You just because you don't know, maybe her and her boyfriend aren't doing great. They weren't together on Valentine's Day.
Yeah, I mean,
she was going to the University of Phoenix.
Shh. The University. But again, he goes to the University of Phoenix. You go to the University of Texas. So, leg up there. That's all I'm saying.
Should have a one-on-one instead of the IM game. Just a one-on-one. Fly him in.
That'd be fun. Who's taller? You or him?
Me.
Oh. Game over. Game set match.
How tall
is
are
it
you?
significantly taller?
I'm 6'3", but if Rasheed Wallace asked, I'm 6'4".
Cool. Yeah, I think you have this in the bag. I think the plan is go to Pluckers after IM game, and we'll see how that goes, and I'll update y'all next week. Sound like a plan?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, sounds good. That's all the time we have. for the show, but thanks for joining, breaking down the uniforms and breaking down Steve's love life. Make sure y'all check out Robert's podcast, Cold Coffee Podcast on Friday.
Yep, follow us on Twitter at The Not Hot Coffee.
Yep, sounds good.
Check it out.
All right, thanks, guys. All right, so let's finish off the show with the fun fact of the week. We have 2 fun facts this week, and you will see in a second why we had 2. The first fun fact of the week comes from Thorsten W. at _soulglow_. And this is what the tweet said. Fun fact, Stephanie Powers, a.k.a. Jennifer Hart, war bei der ersten Staffel Hart aber Erzlich, Heart to Heart, 35 Jahr alt. Feel old yet? So I think I was just reading German there, and I have no idea what I read. I hope you enjoyed my pronunciation. So let's get to a fun fact in English. This one comes to us from Epsilon Mu at Epsilon Mu 1. And the tweet says, meet Kappa Kappa Psi membership candidate Marshall Mixon. He's an oboe performance / music education major, and fun fact, he's been riding motorcycles since he was 12. So ladies, hit up Marshall Mixon and Kappa Kappa Psi people. Let him be a member, I guess. Anyways, that's all we have from the show. We'll see y'all back here next week. Anyways, from the Thomas Fitch Show, I'm Thomas Fitch. Hook 'em horns.
Let go of everything.